Yesterday we had more IRS hearings. For God's sake. This is such a drummed up scandal that is, of course, not in reality a scandal. It was shown that the IRS actually looked into left-leaning groups just as much as right-leaning groups. Because you know what? That's their job. They're supposed to figure out if you're under the right tax bracket. So in order to do that, they have to investigate and go, wait, are you really a nonprofit as you say? Are you really doing political activity or non-political activity? That's their job. And hence they have to look into right-wing and left-wing groups, which is exactly what they did. But the Republicans started this scandal machine and they got to keep it going. So I decided, you know what? Let's do you a service here and show you how the Republican scandal machine works. I'm going to break it down to 10 easy steps. First thing they do is they say, something wrong in government. If anything goes wrong in government, now are things going to go wrong? Sure. The Obamacare website doesn't work. It's a scandal. It's a scandal. We got attacked in Benghazi. We got attacked anywhere. We get attacked all the time. Oh my God, there's something wrong with government. It's a scandal. Or if they don't have anything going wrong in government, they could say they have any charge of bias against conservatives. Oh, Derek, bias against conservatives at the IRS. Oh my God, the IRS. Bias against us. Fill in the blank here, and almost all the scandals fit into one of these two categories. So then what happens next? Well, that's when the right-wing radio and blogs lose their mind in anger and outrage. Oh my God, IRS! And Solyndra. I challenge anyone to figure out what Solyndra is at this point, right? But they just keep repeating it over and over. What happens next? Well, Fox News comes in and they start covering it 24/7. Like, can you believe the outrage of Benghazi? What's the outrage? What happened? They said something wrong on the Sunday talk shows. Nobody even remembers that anymore. You think the conservative viewers out there remember what the specific charge of Benghazi was about how Susan Rice said the wrong thing on the Sunday talk shows? No, at this point, they're like, Benghazi, remember when Obama killed those 4 guys in Libya? Right, okay, so what's the next step after Fox News? GOP politicians pretend to be outraged. What the IRS has done in being even-handed just makes me so mad. Of course, they don't say that. They say, oh, this is bias against conservatives. I can't believe the government did this. Step number 5 is that the scandal is proven false. And they look into it, and then invariably a legitimate news organization will write up, hey, you know what? It turns out Justice Department, the government did not give guns to Mexican drug cartel at all. In fact, they were trying to track those guns. There was a great article in Fortune about that. And this whole idea was totally bogus that they gave the guns to the drug cartels. That's disproven. Who cares? The scandal machine's already revved up. It keeps going. We've proved that the left-wing and right-wing groups were looked at equally. In fact, the left-wing groups were investigated more under the IRS. Doesn't matter. Scandals keeps going, okay? Now, after the story's already been proven false, a critical step happens during the Obama administration. Number 6 is Obama fires someone. Shirley Sherrod, a person heading the IRS who wasn't even heading the IRS at that time, which hadn't done anything wrong anyway. But it's a classic Obama panic. Oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this non-scandal. I'll fire someone, okay? And it's almost always the wrong person. But that only feeds the scandal, because then everybody goes, well, he fires someone. I guess where the Republicans said there was smoke, I guess there must be fire because Obama agreed by firing somebody. So dumb. And then it revs back up. Step number 7. Everyone alleges cover up. Well, you see, if Obama fired someone, it's not because he's doing the right thing and it's accountability. He's trying to cover up something even more sinister. Now the whole story's about the cover up. Step 8. Republicans hold congressional hearings, which is, of course, exactly what's happening with the IRS scandal now. Since they're congressional hearings and the Republicans control the House, they can control whatever hearings they have. Well, then the news must be forced to cover it. It's so important. It's got congressional hearings. Okay, then they get either the mainstream media coverage that they want, or they complain about the lack of coverage. How dare mainstream media is so biased for not covering these incredibly important IRS scandal hearings. And then finally, every Republican in the country repeats the talking points without any idea what the original scandal is. Okay, again, I could use any example, but Solyndra. I guarantee you, if you're with a conservative friend and they just watched this and you ask them, hey, what happened in the Solyndra scandal? This is the response you're going to get. They have no idea. They just know. Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, the blogs, Solyndra, there was hearings. Oh my God, cover up. That's how this game is played. Now you want to see it play out? Happening right now as we speak. So let's go to Morning Joe, standard conventional wisdom in Washington. He's a former Republican congressman, does right-wing talking points every day. So let's go to those talking points.
Steve, I've got that here in news. Because now, because actually there was on the front page, isn't it? Because actually there was an investigation launched yesterday of the IRS, an internal investigation. I'm sure the Internal Revenue Service. Hold on. I'm sure the Internal Revenue Service targeting individuals, private citizens, and also political groups that are against the administration will be on the front page.
We're looking.
That's an internal investigation. Hold on, do you see it? Anything?
17.
I'm sure the New York Times would not let a story that could.
A19.
You know, if George W.
One
Bush.
of these stories is old news, and one of these stories is new news.
This is unbelievable. We could talk about the New York Post as well. It is impossible that the the Washington Post and the New York Times are not putting on the front page of their newspapers the fact that an internal investigation has been launched by the IRS on the most shady behavior.
Well,
and
it's
yet
on
they
page
put
A19.
Pulaski, Skybridge,
It's right here.
whatever, on
Skyway.
A1. Whatever. This is garbage. So let's go.
Look, examining has been a scandal about emails at the IRS, page 19, Q&A.
Page 19, a scandal within a scandal. No, it's just a scandal.
That's it.
It's just a scandal.
Textbook. The mainstream media, the New York Times and the Washington Post aren't covering our fake scandal. I can't, outrage. You see that? Liberal media. Look, there's congressional hearings. How could you not cover it, right? It's not a scandal within a scandal. It's just a scandal. Why? Because I said so. I said it was a scandal. We're going to come back to whether it's a real scandal in a second, and we're actually going to hear from Morning Joe on that. That's precious. Okay, but more on their classic textbook talking points on how to create scandals. Here we go.
If George W. Bush or any Republican had an IRS member that went after Democrats, and then there was an internal investigation launched, you would not have time or space on the front page to talk about women's issues. This really is a scam. This is why conservatives don't trust national newspapers. Right. It's why they don't trust broadcast news. It's because you can go back there's a double standard, and you can see it on every broadcast newscast. You can see it on the front page of every major newspaper. This is a scam. And conservatives have this is why we don't trust national news outlets, because they are so biased and slanted.
You see that they're so biased, man. Not only do we have congressional hearings, we have an internal investigation. You see, you made the mistake of legitimizing their scandal by doing an internal investigation at the IRS. How dare you? And if you hadn't done one, they would say, look at this, there's no accountability. They wouldn't even do an internal investigation. Scandal. And you not covering it as a scam. So now, wait, Joe, you're definitely going to tell me that this is about how they attack Republicans, and that's why this is such a huge controversy, right? Let's hear.
When the IRS gets involved in this sort of play, whether it's against Democrats or Republicans, I think that's the time that the Hill should go after him. I'd love to see some Democrats come out and start pounding this guy, too, because there were Democratic groups also targeted as well, right?
Yeah.
Where the hell's the scandal? You just said there were Democratic groups targeted as well. The original point of the scandal was they went after the Tea Party groups. As he said in the first clip, it's the same show. It's 2 minutes later, okay? They went after the Tea Party. They went after Republicans. And the mainstream media is so biased because they won't cover it. Oh, by the way, they also went after Democrats. Scandal! Scandal. This is how it works. We've got to stop humoring them. And by the way, credit to the New York Times and the Washington Post for not humoring them, putting it on page A19 where it belongs. This obviously fake scandal. And by the way, understand that not only does it work to get their base and get them all revved up so they can just spit out Solyndra, Fast and Furious, IRS, Benghazi, and get them to the polls. I got to go vote. Why? God damn it. Savrinja. The syringe scandal, you remember that one? The FEC or the FTC or the IRS, yeah, that's why I got to go vote, right? But also so that they create an aura of, well, for people not paying a lot of attention, they're going to constantly hear on TV, whether it's Fox News or in that case MSNBC or other places, scandal, scandal, scandal. Now, it's not real scandal. You're even hearing it here, right? But we had to do it to debunk it. But most people are going to hear scandal, scandal, and they'll be like, oh man, Obama's under a lot of scandals. It's the same exact thing they did to Clinton. And then they will turn around and go, you see, the problem with those candidates, whether it's Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or soon Hillary Clinton, they're so divisive. It's a great trick, man. You act as the party that's divisive, and then you blame the person you continually attack with absolute nonsense for being divisive. The Republican scandal machine 101.